This is the paste I just took out of my fridge. It lasted there for maybe 5 weeks or so. Currently doesn't smell terribly awful. I would say like yogurt, not like off yogurt, just like yogurt, like slight sour smell, which means it might have been good for another go made, but I'm having a couple of projects I want to make, so I want to make fresh paste. So the first thing I do is I toss this, and I'll be with you again in a second. So I rinse the glass, and now I'm going to pour boiling water in it. This is not really, you could really sterilize it if you wanted to, I guess. I just don't want to take that much effort, but yeah, well, it comes close. You want it really, really clean. So now we're going to really start the making of the paste. A range of different flours and starches would make good starch paste. You can take what you find in your food cupboard. I'm going to use rice starch, which I bought at an Asian food market, and just wheat flour. Different flours give your paste different properties. Potato starch, for example, is especially nice for paste papers. So you need some kind of measure. I'm taking here just a cup. You could use a bigger, smaller cup. You could actually use spoons. I'm going to use 1 part rice starch and 1 part wheat starch. You will find that different flours also require different amounts of liquid, just like when you're baking. So this is my second. So I have 2 measures of flour now. Now I'm adding water. I want it fairly thick, so I'm going to use 8 measures of water now. So now I'm adding the water. 4 to 6 times as much volume in water as you put in starch. I'm going to put in, I hope I didn't miscalculate, count here. It should be 4. I want to add 8 measures of water. 5, 6, 7, 8. Use cold water, because otherwise your flour will thicken. Make sure you stir this in properly. Let me show you. So now we're at the stove top. I'm heating this like floury milk. You have to stir constantly, because lumps that you get in now will never come out again, and you'll have to start over. Usually it's being said you want to have this at medium heat until it starts cooking. I like to put it fairly high, so I'm currently on 8 out of 9 setting to get this to a boil. So it's starting to boil now. Just before it starts to boil, really, it starts curdling up. And this is when you want to turn down the heat a little. I'm now on 6 out of 9, and stir more rigorously. If at this point you would find that your paste is getting too thick, you could add boiling water now. Because we want to let it simmer for a couple of minutes. We definitely don't want it too thick. Also, it will thicken up when it cools down. If it's too liquid, you just boil it for longer to get rid of more of the water. So now it looks like this. You can see that it's thickened up, and it shouldn't have any lumps at this point. But you just leave it on the heat for, I would say, at least 5 minutes on some heat. Now it's not simmering at all. It should simmer maybe, but even if it's just hot below the point of boiling, that's good. It should stay for a while to really, now there are the first bubbles coming. to really get really gooey. While the paste is simmering a little, I'm preparing my glass here by just getting rid of the hot water. So my paste has cooked for a while and I'm ready to fill it into the glass. It has the consistency now of a thick custard cream. It would be okay if it was a bit more liquid, more like yogurt maybe. And remember, it will stiffen up while cooling down. And I'll see you when this has cooled down to show you how to use it. We're now back in my studio, no longer in the kitchen. The paste is now completely cooled down. You can see it's quite firm. And I show you how I work with it. So I take a bit of it out and into a separate dish. You can see that it's a very firm paste. I usually work with something that's a bit softer. I said it before, it's because of the nature of this project I now have. So what I'm doing now is adding a bit of water. This happens to be dehumidifier water, but you can take just any tap water and work through it with the brush. And you could also work it through a sieve or something. It helps to get out any lumps that might have appeared while it was cooling down, and it works the water right into the paste. You can just see to it that you get the consistency you're looking for. So yeah, I quite like it is here. It looks creamy, doesn't have any lumps. This is how I'm going to work with it. So now I don't need this anymore. I top it up with water, as I said before. Because this is quite firm, I can just pour water over it. It won't dilute without really working through it. And it keeps the paste fresh. Just make sure you never get into take paste out with your fingers. Always use a spoon or something so that you don't get bacteria in there, and it will keep for several weeks in the fridge.